Hello, I am roaringbug, and welcome to my Sims 4 speed build. Today we are building the Blue Saloon, and it is based on this picture of a model of a hotel. I think that's a train model. So I thought that had the classic Western look, and I thought it would be perfect to use as a sample for a saloon. So I had originally built this saloon. I made a version of it that had oodles of different packs because I used it for my personal gameplay and I don't hold back with packs for my own gameplay. And I had originally posted on the Sims build Reddit, and someone had mentioned if there was a version of it with Basegame, and I thought that is a pretty good challenge. So I decided to make a version of this build just with the base game so that anyone can download it. So right now what you're seeing is I'm putting all of these little fancy detailing, and those are debug items in base game. I'm going to be using a lot of debug items to help me do some decoration in this build. They are like the in-world decorative pieces that you need to open the cheats menu bar in order to gain access to. So, like that picture, I am trying to keep the same kind of style to this build. And the number of pillars will revise many times because I moved them around a lot. And first off I thought, hey, let me put enough pillars to actually support a balcony. But later on I thought to myself, I have so many pillars, it's blocking the windows on the first floor. So you're going to see me revise those pillars later on. And right now I am making only the front of the build that faces the street level blue with this blue siding, and the rest of the build is going to be this red brick. And I thought about how to position the windows based on this trim and how many spaces I have for the windows. And it's hard to gauge because those windows have these shutters. So I generally had to count where they are from the inside, where I don't see the shutters. But yeah, and then I put like a trim, and then I decided to put this little bump out in the front area of the build because I thought it could make it a little bit more fancier by sticking out. Ignore that cow plant, that dead cow plant. I had thought about putting a dead cow plant as a mounted skull on the build, but that plan gets scrapped because I just don't like how it looks. I tried putting this picture frame in the front in order to cover up where that skull is just poking out of nowhere, but it still didn't look right, so eventually I just remove it completely. So yeah, this is when I change out the front facade windows and I put down wood flooring for the porch area, for the deck area, and I carry over those windows from the second floor to the first floor. And this is when I realize, shoot, those are way too many pillars, and I want the view not to be of a pillar, so I end up just moving them around. So that's when I moved them. And this is when I made the non-street side of the saloon red brick. And now I'm just putting down more of these shutter windows. I don't really have a rhyme or reason, I just wanted to put windows everywhere. And this is when I extended the porch. And I'm not really sure why, but it didn't look quite right in the corners. It just cut off the corner edge of the porch, of the decking part of this porch, so I just put it back. Yeah, sometimes The Sims is just being The Sims. And I put this sidewalk here, and I put that restaurant sign in the front, just so that you know it's an eatery. There are a few different base game ones, but I like that one. And just talking about Westerns, I really like Westerns, and I think they're pretty cool. I like the whole, like, I don't know, most Western movies are just revenge movies, but, you know, I like Westerns in different formats, like, there's like a space Western, or, you know, like, I don't know. I just really like spaghetti Westerns, and I like the music. It's all very dramatic and romanticized. But in real life, you won't want to live in a land without any laws. It's just like romanticized. And I really do think it's just the music that makes it sound romantic. And right now, I'm just figuring out if I want to trim or not, because it's being cut off by the stairs. And I put this door so that you can gain access to the second floor. And now I'm putting down all of these porch lights. First I put it in front of the windows, but then I decided I should just keep it in between the windows. And I already had removed that coat rack, and I saved it, so I just moved it there. And now I'm just figuring out like the lighting and the flooring, and now I'm finally doing some interior design. So I'm placing this bar, and it wasn't too bad, because like I said, I had made a more complicated version of a saloon for my personal gameplay, so I already sectioned off a bar with the same look. The only difference is that this bar is base game, and I just wanted it to look interesting and distinct and have like a section that's just dedicated for the bar. So I just put this spandrel here and some pillars and some of these like cabinets here, and I thought that was way too many cabinets, so I got rid of 2 of them. And I just wanted to create like a backing for the bar, so I used these larger cabinets here, but I ended up removing them because they were blocking the windows. So I put pillars, which I think does the same thing. It does the job. And I put a tile for the black backsplash for this bar, just so that it's got something there. And if you have other packs, most of them have some kind of like backsplash stuff for a bar, but I like this kitchen cabinet stuff because if you do half cutaway walls for gameplay, it'll drop away out of view, so it's not gonna, all of these like intricate details are just gonna drop out of view when you do actual gameplay. Because I think it's really annoying when you have like a large item in the middle of the room when you're trying to do gameplay in the game. And this is me just picking out some bar stools, so I just picked these. There's not much a selection in base game for bar stools, quite frankly, but I thought these were nice, and I thought I would keep with the color red. And now I'm picking out some tables so I can figure out what this bar needs. So what you're seeing in that drop-down menu on the top, what is it, left corner, is the list of items to make a functioning bar. So if you've never made a community lot before, like, these are the list of requirements in order to make a bar function as a bar. It's very minimal. I mean, technically all the things I'm doing is a lot more than the requirement, but I don't go overboard just because I wanted the routing to be pretty easy. So yeah, I just put the chandeliers everywhere. So when I first made a saloon for my personal gameplay, I made the upstairs into an apartment with the intention of having my sim live in the upstairs apartment. And technically that wouldn't work because if you did have your sim go and visit the apartment, it would be available to anyone who visits the lot. So if you wanted the lot just for your sim, what I ended up doing is getting a mod so I can have my sim lock community lot doors just so that she can just close it to everyone else and they wouldn't keep visiting. I thought that was pretty neat, and in theory, if you gave your sim a cheap lot with nothing on it, and then you had them live in a community lot and just never leave, they could probably save a lot of money. So they would just pay for the space of the empty lot that they have as their home lot, and they can just permanently stay at a community lot if it's decked out like an apartment. But like I said, you'd have the hassle of having random sims just break in, because sims usually gravitate to computers, and since it's not your home lot, you can't have it locked so that only you have access to it. So I sectioned this off really simply as a apartment, but if you wanted to, you could, like, I don't know, turn it into something else if you wanted. Maybe you want to turn it into, I don't know, like, it depends what packs you have. You could turn it into, like, I know if you have the high school pack, you can make like a retail place / bubble tea place. So if you had something like that, you could turn it into something else. I mean, it's really up to you what you want to do with the space. You can do something with it, or you could do nothing with it. So in this front area, I just created a little desert planter just so that there's something out there in the front. And I decided to create a gazebo in the back. And I just wanted it to look pretty and romantic. So I think, like, in most cases, you would have your sim go on a date, and maybe you want a nice place to take pictures of your sims on a date. So I thought about making a pretty little gazebo for them to take some pictures. Take some pictures, make some memories. And at first, I made this gazebo with a glass top. But when I thought about it, I was like, that's a really bad idea. If you're out in the desert, the last thing you want to be is under a gazebo with a glass top, because you'll just bake under the sun, like a bug under a magnifying glass. So I ended up changing it to this white tile. And I'm using terrain paint now in order to make a footpath. And terrain paint is free, and I like this pebbly looking, like, I don't know, terrain paint, because it looks pretty nice. And I don't have the patience to put down stones. I just didn't feel like it at the time. I mean, it's a little time consuming putting down like individual stones from the debug menu. But, I just wanted this area to look pretty. So I just put a lot of these plants from the regular Basegame, and I put these succulents here and there and these aloe plants just to give it some kind of greenery. And I lined the back with some lavender just so that it doesn't look plain. That little pink bush that I moved around 3 times, that ends up just disappearing. I don't keep that one. So yeah, I just put down another lavender thing there. And I'm just trying to layer up this yard, and now I'm just using a light dusting of terrain paint, because I'm very light when it comes to putting down dirt everywhere. I just put a little bit. I'm not really heavy-handed with terrain paint. It's just to give the build something to look like it's there and not just out of nowhere. And I put these little path lights in the back, and I thought that looked pretty. And I got these debug lights off the gallery. So I think there was some kind of like special event, and they made these like string lights. and I just, did a search off the gallery for string lights, and that's how I got them. And if you want easy access to them, in build mode, if you select for pre-made rooms, you will see them listed in one of the pre-made rooms. So I thought that was pretty neat. And now I'm just getting rid of that space, and I am moving the waiting room area for the bathroom, just so I could put a door on that wall there so that you can have access to that balcony. And off the gallery, I got these dead cow plants because I thought they would make really cool decoration. And I thought I would want it flower pots, flower boxes, but I was like, that's not the right vibe for this build. I want it to be very deserty, and I changed the pavement outside. So that's the end of my build. If you like it, like I said, it's all base game, and you can get off the gallery at roaringbug. Please like, subscribe, or leave me a comment. Bye!